What's good, y'all? What's good, Real Talk Squad? This is Miles, and you are listening to Real Talk with Miles Johnson, where you know we always keep it real. Let's get straight into it, man. Like, comment, subscribe, do all that jazz. Share with a friend and share with a friend. Let's get into some real talk. We talked about Saquon Barkley. We talked about his brilliance, the fact that he should be the MVP of the NFL. It's not the most valuable quarterback, it's the most valuable player. And the most valuable player is Saquon Barkley. He has single-handedly won the Eagles multiple games and has consistently closed games out. I honestly feel like if you jump over somebody backwards, that gives you the MVP automatically. Automatically. In the last episode, we talked about how I would like to see the Eagles have a team meeting with the Sixers. I'm so serious. F the team meeting with just the Sixers themselves. No, Eagles, y'all got some dogs on that team. To mark the Philadelphia Eagles, they got some dogs with Saquon Barkley and Jalen Hurts and A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, Land Dickerson, Jordan Mailata, 7th round pick that made something out of nothing at a certain point. Talk about a guy in the Kobe Dean, Zach Bond, Jalen Carter, Jordan Davis. I can keep going on and on and on and on. C.J. Garner, Johnson. We have some dogs. I didn't even mention Cooper DeJean. I didn't even mention Quinyon Mitchell. I'm so serious. I'm looking at this Sixers team. The only real dog I'm seeing this whole entire season has been Jared McCain. So I'm like, I think the Eagles should have an intervention with the Sixers. Ultimately, maybe they could try to get to Joel Embiid. Maybe Saquon Barkley could make a speech about leadership because Saquon Barkley has been everything the Eagles have asked for, not only on the field, but we can see off the field. His leadership is second to none right now. Same with Jalen Hurts. Same with this team is flowing. It feels like it's 2022, but this Sixers team, the vibes is off, bro. The vibes are off. So maybe it'll take the Eagles having a team meeting with them for them to get back on track. But I just pop that real quick because, Sixers 3-13 at this certain point, and it's not looking really not looking too good right now. Not looking really too good. But we're going to talk about the Eagles, and first thing we're going to talk about Jalen Hurts. I'm so happy. I'm very, very happy that Jalen Hurts is being a game manager right now. That's the best case scenario for the Eagles. And honestly, he deserves to be a game manager at this certain point because we're seeing a guy that took J.J. Arcega-Whiteside and Jalen Reagor to the playoffs. So I would hope that, like, as his career, keeps going on, that sometimes he can just chill, hand the ball off to his star running back, and just smile. If you think that Jalen Hurts is like, I want to do more, I want to do more than I got to really do, no. It's kind of like when you're at work and you get the same results or better results when you're not doing as much as like you would obviously take getting the results with you doing less work. I'm not saying Hurts is lazy or that the Eagles don't want him doing much, but at the end of the day, if you can get the same result or better results and your quarterback doesn't have to be a superstar and do extraordinary superhero things, that's great. Because we saw Jalen Hurts do that last season, right? We saw him do that in 2022. We saw him do that in 2021. Take J.J. Arcega-Whiteside, Jalen Reagor, and a rookie, Devontae Smith, who has grown leaps and bounds from what he was his rookie year, and he took those guys to the playoffs. So it's only right that the man gets to chill for some games in November, in September, in October, and let his running back, who y'all paid the big bucks, to cook. The best case scenario is for Jalen Hurts to be a game manager. Now, I know this. I know if we're talking about in the playoffs, I know that Jalen Hurts is he's going to up his game because that's what he does every single time. Look at what Jalen Hurts has done against elite quarterbacks this season. He's outplayed Joe Burrow. He's outplayed Matthew Stafford. He just has. He just flat out has. So ultimately, Hurts is a guy that against the mediocre bottom tier quarterbacks, he might not have his best game because ultimately he's like, I don't need to have my best game. I don't. But against the great quarterbacks, he knows he has to rise to the occasion. So if he can be a game manager in games that really don't matter or games that he doesn't have to be, I'm cool with that. And when it comes time that you have to drop back, you have to move out that pocket and find AJ Brown in stride and find Dallas Goddard in stride and find Devontae Smith and your various weapons around this field. That is what Jalen Hurts will do. I feel completely good with Jalen Hurts being a game manager in certain games, bro. In certain games. You literally brought Saquon Barkley for Jalen Hurts not to be Superman every single game. Speaking of Superman or speaking of some superpowers, let's talk about AJ Brown. AJ Brown is one of one, bruh. He really is tough. I'm looking at his stats this season, and let me just pull the Johns up real quick, bro. This guy has 727 yards, 4 touchdowns in 8 games. I'm not counting that Jaguars game, bro. I'm not counting that Jaguars game. So if you want to just minus that 36 yards and make it, I'm trying to do my math, but like high 600s, he's still on pace to average, or not to average, but he's on pace to have 1,100 yards this season, bro. This season. In an offense that is run first with a running back that is having an unprecedented running back season, rushing season. For he's on pace to be with the guys like Walter Payton and Jim Brown, not Christian McCaffrey. He surpassed him. We're talking about the all-time greats that this running back is on. So I love what AJ Brown said. He said, my mindset is if I get 3 catches in this run-first offense, I better get 3 touchdowns. Now, he knows that's not realistic, but that's the goal that he has in mind. Because if you reach for the moon, you're going to reach for the stars. And in the day, bro, you got to have such high expectations for yourself so you're always being able to go ahead and reach for more and not be content. But AJ Brown is really one of them guys, and I hope to see Devontae Smith in this Ravens game. I hope so, because we are going to need him. But nonetheless, AJ Brown against this Ravens defense is going to be like a guy licking his chops. Licking his chops right now, bro. You're going to be like, what? This Raven, bro. If Lab McConkey can go off a little bit against the Ravens, what you think AJ Brown going to do? What you think AJ Brown going to do? Just saying. I can't wait for that game. That's going to be a game. That's going to be a game. That's going to be a freaking game. I think last thing with Brandon Graham situation, let's talk about him real quick. Brandon Graham is definitely going to be missed. Like, Brandon Graham is going to be missed, but we got to stop acting like his whole, like, all right. With Brandon Graham, like, obviously we know, like, he has his presence off the field, right? And so regardless if he's in or out of the lineup, like, he'll still have that veteran presence in the locker room, in practice, in games with those young guys and being that leader of men like he is. But we can't understate how much of a loss Brandon Graham on the field is, not even just as a captain. So I know that the Eagles are about to sign a defensive end on a practice squad and all that stuff and try to see if they can, move Brandon Graham to that IR and replace him with another guy. But we are going to need production to replace Brandon Graham because he was getting active. It wasn't Brandon Graham, just like Jason Kelce, to like a lesser degree. I'm talking about with Brandon Graham, lesser degree than Jason Kelce, but like Brandon Graham, just like Jason Kelce, his last year potentially is not a ceremonial run. Like, he's an actual pivotal piece on this defense. So with him being out, it's more than just Brandon Graham. Oh, well, he's a great guy and Philly legend, and he's so great and all this stuff. Like yeah, all that is true. But we are going to have to replace his production with somebody else. Somebody else has to step up. Is it Thomas Booker? Is it Jalen Hux? Like who is it gonna be? But somebody gotta step up. Somebody gotta step up. Now, we saw in a similar situation with Carson Wentz, he actually got injured against the LA Rams. I believe it was week 12. Week 12. And we know what happened. Nick Foles stepped up, and then we got a Super Bowl. So obviously, to a lesser degree, Brandon Graham, defensive end compared to a quarterback, but ultimately, we are going to have to find production where Brandon Graham was because it wasn't just a ceremonial run. He was needed, and he is going to have to be replaced production wise on this defense. So I hope that he goes ahead and hope that Hy Roseman cooks and finds somebody. I think they actually like got somebody from like the Patriots or somebody on waivers anyway. So my last point on this, let's talk about Nick Sirianni real quick. Nick Sirianni, I was very critical of Nick Sirianni, and I'll say like I'm very very happy that he was able to be a big part of why this team has been able to turn it around. Like again, at Real Talk, we will give credit. We will give credit. But don't be fooled. Nick Sirianni's success isn't based on what he does in the regular season. And if you say that his success is based on the regular season, you're being disingenuous, brother. You're being a sis. You're being disingenuous because we all know that his success is based on what this team does in the playoffs. If it's a one and done, that's bad. And I'm not trying to put this negative energy, but let's just be real. Let's keep it a beam. Let's keep it a stack. Nick Sirianni's success is based on the playoffs. It's based on getting to a Super Bowl. Or at the worst case scenario, going to Detroit and playing the Lions to the final whistle. That's the only, unless that I feel like that's the only way like I can be content with Sirianni this season is if either we win a Super Bowl, we get there, or we lose to the Lions on like a last second field goal and they win it. It was just a very, very hard fought game. And you can just tip your cap. That's the only way. If it's a one and done, he got to be out. If we lose in the divisional round, we don't get that number one seed, he's out. If we get blown out by the Lions, I want him out. And again, if you fire Doug Peterson, who was a Super Bowl winning coach, then I don't believe that, Nick Sirianni is just safe. He ain't safe, bruh. He not safe. This is just going to say, again, he's judged by what he does in the postseason. Come on, y'all. I just want to get into some NFL topics real quick. Y'all know what I do. And I'm going to start like a mailbag where y'all can just ask me questions and I can just answer all them Johns and all that. Let's talk about this. How about the Lions a little bit? Commanders. Look, the Commanders are frauds. And this has happened multiple times with Cliff Kingsbury, right? Cliff Kingsbury, his offense has, done well in the beginning of seasons, and then towards the tail end of the seasons, they fade out. You saw that with the Arizona Cardinals with Kyler Murray. They had that great start, and they, simmered down towards the end. So I'm seeing the same exact thing happen with the Commanders, bro. They are very overrated, bro. And if Tyreek Stevenson wasn't crashing out, talking to fans crazy, we're talking about a Commanders team who's 6-6. Now, look, this is still an upgrade from what they did last season because I did not expect them to be this good, though. So I got to give respect. I'm going to, do that for sure. But let's not act like this team is a contender or anything like that. They frauds. They kind of peaked a little bit early. And I love that the Eagles, they still ain't peaked yet. They still ain't peaked yet. And so we're going to keep on seeing the Eagles keep trending up. And I expect the Commanders to keep trending down. I'm still very, very high on Jalen Daniels, but he's a rookie, bro. This is why I said pump the brakes, pump the brakes. I did say on record that I was scared more of Jalen Daniels and the Commanders than Dak Prescott and the Cowboys. I stand by that because that's facts. Where the Cowboys are nothing, bro. They nothing. But ultimately, you talk about like Jalen Daniels over Hurts and all this stuff. I'm like, come on, bro. You drawing right now. So all of that stuff is true there. Baker Mayfield's hooping, bro. I ain't gonna lie. Baker Mayfield's hooping. If you want to say that he's playing like a top 5 quarterback, I'm not gonna be mad at it. I'm not gonna be mad at it, bro. I think the fact that he was able to still be productive without Mike Evans and Chris Godwin, you gotta tip your cap. He got that dog in him, and he's bringing that like new culture in that post Brady era. That is just a winning culture, bro. It's a winning culture, and it's gotta just really just really be happy for what he's doing. I mean, yeah, he was down and all this stuff. He was number one overall pick. So, I mean, I feel like sometimes he should be held to those standards. But even for number one overall pick, I mean, he's playing like above like a number one overall pick, I feel like, or at that level this season. He has been balling out of control, balling out of control. I think last John, bro, last John, Lamar Jackson, Joe Burrow. Oh, we're gonna talk about Joe Burrow real quick. Let's talk about Joe Burrow real quick, bro. And this kind of relates back to like my whole Jalen Hurts criticism thing. Y'all pick and choose when you want to criticize a quarterback and when you don't want to criticize a quarterback. What I mean by that. So like with Jalen Hurts or Dak Prescott, we pick apart, or folks are more prone with Jalen Hurts and Dak Prescott to say they missed that throw. They missed that guy. But with Justin Herbert, and especially with Joe Burrow, it's never that, bro. Against the Chargers, when the Bengals played the Chargers, what happened? Joe Burrow had a wide open Jamar Chase late in the fourth quarter. He did not see him. They lost the game because what happened? They failed to score a touchdown. They failed to score a touchdown. And on the other hand, the Chargers and J.K. Dobbins went to the crib. So you can put up these gaudy stats, but if you don't win, what does it matter? What does it matter? Because look, when Dak Prescott puts up gaudy stats and they lose, I'm critical of him. So I can't just switch up and say, well, Joe Burrow and he is just in a terrible situation and he's putting up MVP numbers. He's not winning. And I showed you an example of him missing his number one wide receiver, bro, in crunch time in the fourth quarter to win the game, and he did not deliver. So is that a crime to say, yo, Joe Burrow ain't been perfect? He hasn't. He's put up some great stats, but come on. There's a lot of guys that put up great stats and they don't win. So we have to be consistent with certain guys and not just fall in the narratives of, well, he won the Super Bowl and he's just such a great guy and he cannot do anything wrong. No, I'm not saying Joe Burrow the problem, but in a lot of these games, he has not been the solution. In that Chargers game, he was not the solution at the end of the game. His defense stopped Justin Herbert like two, three times. He didn't get it done. Come on. Oh, another one. This is my last one. CJ Stroud. CJ Stroud. Y'all tried to overhype the man. He is going to be a great quarterback in this league for sure. He has superstar written all over him. But when are we going to keep it a beat and keep the same energy that y'all talk about with Jalen Hurts and how he was regressing last season and all this stuff for CJ Stroud, bro? CJ Stroud has not looked very good this season. He hasn't. It's not saying that he's not gonna be a great quarterback in this league and he's not a franchise guy. We're not saying all that. But bro, he got some pieces. He had some guys out. A lot of guys had some guys out. Baker Mayfield had Mike Evans out. And we ain't see him really drop, look very, very bad, you feel me? So all of that stuff. So ultimately, bro, like we have to keep the same energy, bro. Have to keep the same energy. And yeah, bro, I'm just saying that right now. So look, like, I'm subscribe, do all that jazz. Share the friend, share with a friend. I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. We're so good. MJ, we are out.